The Enlightenment Chasers, Royalties of Peace. We are stealing the storms back to peace that has no storm, while holding on to perfect peace. It is Thursday, April 3rd of 2025, and it is episode 37 of the Golden Age podcast by Mavis Free Lefang. Our highlights: 1. Freedom of speech is a right and not a privilege. 2. Customary marriage in Cameroon. 3. Politics and traditions. 4. Authoritarian regimes. 5. Reaction towards the tariffs of April 2nd, 2025, Liberation Day. And 7. The unprecedented climate changes of our time. Yes, I must still emphasize that we are the royalties of peace, and it is our place to perfect our world, to accomplish the enlightenment we seek. It is in the hands of us, the humans. All other existence are subsets within us. Therefore, must we be able to utilize the tools we have with us. Schools and experiences of life, of sophisticated living, and travels to be current with our status of reaching the end goal. Perfect peace, perfect enlightenment. Freedom of speech is a right and not a privilege. We might have read this quote in so many places and misusing the tool. It is time for us to enable the effectiveness of every quote to fulfill our mission of reaching perfection. Like the seed planted, it cannot stay a young plant forever. It must reach maturity. The wisdom age is now the golden age. It's time for us to clarify every quote and every writing on the wall of human knowledge. Freedom of speech is a right and not a privilege. What is the difference between right and privilege? Right versus privilege. Definition. According to helpfulprofessors.com, it says rights promotes equality and provides a level playing field for everyone. Like privilege creates inequality by providing chances and impossibilities, possibilities and impossibilities. Privileges are granted to just several individuals, while rights are granted to all. Privilege to a private education and the right to breathe, if we should understand what the world generally understand what right is to privilege. Privilege is for some people, while right is for everyone. Freedom of speech is a right. You are born with it. You come into the world with it. But privilege is what you achieve in the world. Sometimes you achieve even your rights in the world because it comes with time, according to the stages of development. You must be able to differentiate between what you achieve in the physical life that is right to what is a privilege. Rights are legal. Privileges are advantageous. It can be illegal. A privilege can be illegal. Is freedom of speech then a right or a privilege? There's a difference between freedom of speech and making a point. There's a difference between talking and morally speaking. So when we give these quotes to children and not explaining what it is, they defend themselves like illiterates. And at the end, with so much regrets of what they mean by freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a right. Birth, it comes with a privilege. You must be able to know how to speak morally because we live in a world of fragility. Our world is not a world of freedom. Our world is not the enlightenment perfect. It is a journey to the enlightenment perfect. Freedom of speech is a right and same time a privilege. You must understand the privilege that goes along with the freedom of speech, a right. It is both, and you must involve privilege when you have the right of speech. Some don't even have the right of speech, having but actions. Even your silence is a speech, it's a right, but you must ensure it has a privilege of morality. At the end, you are always the best judge of yourself, of what privilege you have. The privilege to speak right, to speak morally, or to speak immorally. What is your right of speech? The freedom of speech is a right. What right? Because there can be freedom of speech is wrong. You must be able to understand what is right and what is wrong. Now, wrong might have been explained to mean right. Some say there is no wrong, which may make you think wrong does not exist. But what is wrong? Wrong is not a rejected expression, but rather a premature expression, which is why you have a privilege of what is moral to what is immoral. Immoral only meaning still in the process of reaching the expected goal of morality. A wrong is only a premature, like a baby. A baby is not wrong because the baby grows. Human life expresses human development, a journey to wisdom age, integrity. Once you are conceived into a human world, you experience despair. Not because you are despair, you are the freedom of speech, but you must have the privilege to choose morality that will heal the disability of this world, the immorality of this world. The privilege to be of morality is not to reject the one with immorality, but to be a role model worthy for the one with immorality to recover from immorality to perfection. Like the fingers of the hand are different. Some have more immorality than others. Does not mean the one with role model does not have a fault. So when you're going to look at someone who has been placed on the high table of light, you're not trying to pick out a negativity on them to show that they have some immorality, to show that their freedom of speech is not right. Sometimes you call it a privilege, the privileged one, the one chosen but wrong. It's time for us to really redefine our terms with clarity. Not that they're not defined, they're defined, but we need clarity for the sake of our increase and increased point of views. The more we increase, the more we have points of views. And all must be resolved. And if we have to stop resolving them, then we have to stop increasing. So we all can recover with what we already have and attain the perfection of our being. Enlightenment of perfection can only be achieved of none left behind. Where there is light, there is an attention. According to Africa Reloaded, a YouTube channel, on April 1st, His Excellency President Abraham Traore, Traore, His Excellency President Abraham Traore, in protecting his country by suppressing the journalists of his country from releasing important information that belongs to the country to the outside world. He was attacked. He was approached by the outside world concerning this matter, which is very understanding that we all are very protective of each other. But every country today is exposing the need for privacy on sensitive matters, especially with the United States of America government. What is unwinding with us is the awareness of the sensitivity of being. There is a place where no one can judge but self. You are your best judge. Your surrounding can help you with the best they can, but at the end, you individually is responsible of maturing to perfection. Yet, you must be aware that the others depend on each other. We all depend on each other and at the same time must be reliable. For example, in a company, you must be of your best. Yes, we all have weaknesses, but the awareness of these weaknesses is not a ground for diversity, but rather awareness of our weakness must be endeavoring to look for a means to care for that weakness. It's like a mother with a baby. She may be at work but need time to go and cater for the baby. And that would take working with the others to cover up for the time that she will not be around. You don't just get up and part. That will cause others to start intruding into your privacy. So, what is going on with the privacy of individual countries today and the need for security of sensitive areas? Amazingly, I learned from this channel from this video, that His Excellency President Abraham Traore is working with Mali and Niger to enable a common communication ground from which information can be released legally and not illegally or complicatedly. Because we are all aware every individual has a weakness and must be protected. He's not only protecting the country, but protecting even his own journalists from defaulting with the outside world. The outside world is very sensitive, just like how the inside is sensitive. In the hospitals, we talk about sanitization. The inside must be sterile and the outside must be clean. Yes, white is white, but there is sterile white and there is clean white. They may look the same and equal, but you must know the difference. So you do not counteract the usage of the right tool in the right place, which is why you must label on it sterile gloves and clean gloves. There is a reason why that is expressed for us to be able to apply it of within. Going to school is not for fanciness. It's not only for fanciness. It can be for fancy, but not only for fanciness. It must fulfill its purpose, which is to reach the end goal of our forefathers, completing the question, the problem. The reason why we made the earth was because there was a problem presenting. And solving the problem should be done with, should not become a cycle. Now I'm talking about number two, the customary marriages in Cameroon. Customary marriage in Cameroon in 2024 has developed a new regime. With the courts, it is expected to be registered separately from civil and other marriages. It is not really legalized yet, but still being worked upon and in training, still being studied. But it is a call for concern. We might have learned in school types of marriages. There are several types of marriages. The two main marriages expressed in Wikipedia is the civil marriage and religious marriage. Now, the customary marriage might not have been mentioned because it is the core and the umbrella of these two marriages called civil and religious. In my research yesterday and my review and research yesterday on history, and a journey being humans, concerning politics. Politics is spirituality. Politics is no foreign experience. Politics is no foreign presentation to us. It is only a part of the very first establishment of the thinking man. Customary marriage is more of traditional marriages. And this comes with understanding autocracy, the thinking man, the mind of the man. The first autocracy of existence is the mind of the man, the thinking man. The first time there was a thought of let's make an earth, the reason for making an earth, the question, a part of the mind questioning. That process of thinking was an attention, needing a solution. And that was the birth of autocracy. Like despotism, absolute power. You cannot rest without solving the problem. Even when you try to rest, you find no peace until the problem is solved. And through this autocracy came the existence of chiefdom. Chiefdom is the existence of power on a people, stateless. It is a form of early state system, more of like a group of people based on kinship, where senior members of a chosen people or families chosen to ordain one to be called the chief. Chiefdom is greater than palaces that we see today of more valuable or more renowned or popular. Chiefdom is the core, the sacred place of the palaces and of kingdoms. Chiefdom is the heart, like USA it is the heart to not only America but the world. That's what chiefdom is. It is important for the children to really understand where we are coming from, being humans. Like I stated in the previous episodes, that Africa, yesterday I said Africa is known to be the origin of humanity. I said we might not know where the animals started from, but we know humans started from Africa and emphasizing to be around the east where Kenya is. And that is enough for us to work with. It could be more than that, but that is enough for us to start with how far we have gone with research. And we will not keep on researching forever on that because we even realize that every generation is a playback of the previous. It might have a different candy wrapper, but it's the same candy. The same trying to solve problem. The same problem looking for the solution, which can be reached now. Amazingly, this solution can be reached at any step and it's enough. But if we keep on adding generations, we turn the short division into a long division. If you know what math is with divisions, you have the long division and the short division. Now we're trying to seize the division at this level of a long division. We're not trying to make it so complicated. Because sometimes when it's so complicated, you even miss a one step off or even a one number mistaken, even on at the last steps can just spoil the whole show that started in the beginning with so much pride. It's time for us to really, while trying to play a part, going through the problem solving, we can trace the solution in all of it because it is very familiar. And that is what we play with going through. From where we started, of every happiness and of every sadness, we are beginning to understand where World War One started and what was the cause of World War One, World War Two. And now we need to come to an end. We don't need World War Three. We cannot give up on the problem. That's what World War One and World War Two is, giving up on us. We must be able to solve the problem without giving up. It takes therapeutic communication, modest communication is what it is. Therapeutic communication is modest communication, smart communication, and not being fast. We are trying to be smart. AI intelligence is a presentation of the core of our ancestors. We call it AI, artificial. Instead, what we are presenting is artificial. What we call artificial is instead the true intelligence being called artificial. It's like waking up from sleep and calling reality a dream, but rather we're just waking up from a dream. It's time for us to walk right, not to dream again. Wisdom age is here. There is no need for a sleep, but to become awakened. Now, transitioning must be accordingly, following the right strategy. Talking about chiefdom, and I'm going back to the customary marriages and civil marriages and and religion marriages. Religion, religion is more of like Christianity and Muslim marriages, but there is customary marriage, which is tribal, and it goes with the chiefdom marriages. Tribal marriages goes with chiefdom marriages. And this is very different from what we are experiencing today with the civil, which goes with the kingdom, like the artificial marriages. We are trying to go with the true, at what we call AI is actually the real marriage, contrary to what we've been working with called reality. Humans are artificial. We are from enlightenment. Enlightenment is a true being. It's that we understand it so we don't stay stuck with trying to maintain a physical being that really struggles. Even the climate can testify. So, customary marriages cannot be controlled by our human experiences, but rather controlled by its purpose. Not human experiences, but human purpose. It can only be controlled by human purpose, not by human experiences. It's not about trying to have property or trying to make a family that does not cause harm or afflict each other, but understanding the purpose even disrupts, dismantles all of these experiences because you work with mutuality. When you reach divinity of our being, that is what we call customary. That is what is chiefdom. Going back with the forefathers of enlightenment reaching, you don't walk by the government. Rather, you don't walk by the government. The government works for you. You are in control of the government, not the government in control of you. When you are able to go to the government for help, then there is a problem. Either you have multiplied, you have increased in number, or the others have increased in number and trying to take your place. There is need for an attention, meaning to draw each other to one accord, to the expected purpose of humanity. When there is need for the recovering, the reorientation of human purpose, that is when we go to the city halls, the courthouses, and start crying out, only expressing the need for remediation. Not that we're against the government, but rather expressing the need for remediation. What are we missing? Is what is going on all over the world. Trying to renew, trying to restabilize of self. Therefore, customary marriages are not being managed by the courtrooms or the government. But this regime of 2024 enforcing the legalizing of customary marriages by the government It's not to give you the room to abuse customary marriages. It's not about trying to go fight for your property, but rather realizing that when you're able to come there for assistance, then there is something that you're not doing that is right. You must go and walk upon. It is like not doing work that Father has told you to do, and then you're going to mother to cry. But mother will only comfort you and reconstruct you, re-instruct you how to carry out the activity that Father has given to you. And that's the only means you can live, by obeying your father and mother, to live long on earth, to live happy. Living long on earth meaning living happy on earth. It takes the customary and the government. You can never override the customary. Impossible. Because even the government is under the customary. So when the white marriages are coming in and taking over the customary, then we are making a mistake. Because we'll wake up and cry. Mother can never override father. Fatherland is fatherland. We are trying to solve mother's problem. We the children. We are running to mother for a cry, is to awaken, to realize, how do we solve mother's problem? It's not by multiplying. We don't want to have another baby to cry like we. So we have to cease from being babies. We are maturing to be equal with mother. And we becoming equal with mother is mother becoming equal with father. The reason for customary marriages is for the man to receive the wife like a child, to nurture to equality with man. If we understand the meaning of the customary marriages, we will cease from even trying to go to the government for some legalization of the customary marriages. It's very, very tricky, and not tricky, but very, very um, wise presentation to us of increase in number. It's just a matter of how increased we are in number and so many points of view that we are having all of these strategies coming out with mom and dad playing like that. Dad is the customary and mommy is the civil and religious marriages. We should not abuse fatherland. It's very, very important. And this is why we are having all of this golden age scenario going on, and everyone taking their rightful divinity ground and begging for opportunity to restore of being. We have become of matured age. USA reaching 250 years is a clock, an alarm, a clock alarm onto the world. We all should already be of maturity. Politics and traditions have been understood with the customary marriage in Cameroon. Therefore, politics can never take over traditions. However, we've been playing around with traditions. Traditions have never been hidden. Growing up like a child, I wasn't taught tradition, but I am a princess, and I must respect my my chiefdom. There's a reason why we maintain the title chiefdom. Some areas in Cameroon maintain chiefdom and not kingdoms. Some call it kingdoms, but some maintain the word chiefdom. Growing up, I thought chiefdom was instead cheap and kingdom was expensive, was more luxury. Looking at the structures of the buildings is so the villages are not home. We want to live better in the towns. But now of my age of maturity, I'm beginning to understand what was really going on. But doesn't mean that we should keep tattered houses or ruined houses. But for us to come to our senses that even if we have to improve the chiefdom to be equal with the palaces in Buckingham Palace, for example, the Buckingham Palace, if we want the chiefdoms to become like the Buckingham Palace, we must be of the right mind. It's like the king cannot wear a crown with disability of the mind. The king will throw the crown away. That is what the chiefdom is showing to us, the reality of where we are, still of deficit, no matter all the glory we have around the world. So all of these places that are like Third World War, we call it, is rather the First War. It's rather the First World. And the Third World War is instead this, wearing the crown with no brain in their heads. And our forefathers are still presenting. Some parents don't give their children gifts if they are stubborn, but some parents give their children gifts even if they're stubborn or not, and just maintain the education and keep on educating the child until the child gets better. But you have these other children who are not given gifts, which is very, very sad because it's discrimination. Why should they be the only ones to be presenting? They expect it for the others to learn from. And when these now learn from them to realize, oh my goodness, we're not supposed to be giving good gifts. And then they begin to feel like the terrible ones, and while the others have been suffering, bearing the consequences and not the others. It's time to really resolve this immorality. It should reach maturity, equality of wealth, and we also becoming equality of the mind. The more we increase, the more we find ourselves depleting and others struggling for others. And then you think that they are the the unlucky ones or maybe rejected ones, but rather only presenting the true being that we are. Trick and treat. Now, with the crown and all the world, with depression, now trying to look like the other we should have been learning from, living in ruined homes and having children, versus those with riches having children. Both are now struggling with mental disabilities. Both now are realizing their faults. Being rich does not mean that you don't have a fault. Coming to our senses is really improving how we are trying to rebuild. And we are trying to be of the right mind so no one struggles. No one stays the darkness and the other the light when we all are at the fault. But we cannot penalize those that have been living wealthy because they also have their frustration of keeping treating themselves and tricking is what they feel like. And we understanding that, we realize that we have never really been free from problems, even though there must be some consideration for those who have really been suffering at the same time, going through the pain. We are all now having pain, but we must be able to elevate those that have been in a place of struggle. Politics and traditions working on each other. Politics is trying now to free wealth to tradition, and tradition is trying to portray the expected. Tradition is the core, politics is the outside. Tradition is the sterile ground, politics is the clean ground. Understanding that, number four, brings us to authoritarian regimes. We know of the autocratic, totalitarianism, or oligarchy, all means of one power above others. Politics might have seemed like a greater power over traditions, but now we understand tradition instead is the power above politics. No one has ever really been above anyone, but we all just come into our senses of the foolishness that we've been trying to present, some like asymptomatic and others symptomatic. We are all trying to recover now, fulfilling our ancestors who are of the higher realm looking at us and feeling regretful of having us. If they would have just ascended without having us, this wouldn't have been. It's their own cry. Therefore, we must be able to resolve this for the sake of humanity. For the sake of humanity. and the thankfulness will be unto us. Is democracy wrong? Democracy is not wrong, but it is an awareness of our weakness seeking wellness, where we all the people get to choose the government, must be of the right mind. When we choose the government and acting against the government, we must be able to have a reorientation on where we are falling short, because we are supposed to be of one mind. Where there is a disruption, there is need for reorientation, not rejection. No one can be rejected, because if one is wrong, we all are wrong. We all are of the same customs. If one is interpreting differently, we need to understand where the interpretation is coming from. Is it where we fell short, or is it where one is almost falling short from? Someone asked, what history book is His Excellency President Trump reading from? And I was like choking on my laughter. Like, I'm asking myself right now, the history that I'm reading of the United States of America is the same history book that is online for everyone, but how we understand it is amazing. When you walk with the character perfect peace, when you refine, when you get back to the origin of the fathers, when you go back to the chiefdom roots and walk with peace, you will be amazed of how swift and sweet the journey is. And then trying to establish everyone back upright is not that easy with children involved. But we must be able to work with each other, because once the young understand it, we are free. Liberation time. Talking about liberation on the tariffs of yesterday, according to the United States of America, trying to implement tariffs on every country, no country excluded. Even the countries calling themselves of third world country are now understanding of the greater enlightenment that they are from, and needing to apply this to encourage the ability to become luxury. Because if you are that rich of tradition, then you should not have wealth problems. What is the gold that white people came and took from Africa? Now we are coming to our senses, they didn't take any gold. You can never take away father. Fatherland can never be taken away. You can never take away Africa. We still live in Africa. Africa is us. Maybe only bringing an awareness that we are so divided and falling apart. They need to come to that understanding. How could brothers be so far away from us and speaking different and acting different? What is this departing from each other? Acting like foreign, but from same land. Diaspora today even gives us more interpretation of what our forefathers and ancestors went through in the name of division and colonization and falling apart and struggling to reunite with different points of view, governing another with a point of view that is still in the process of working upon. All of this colonization was not taking over Africa. It was rather Africa assisting those who had gone afar to recover what they had lost. The knowledge of all truth is the gold which we give for free, and they applaud with their currency and wealth. It's balanced. Now, must the impact of these tariffs being placed by every country fulfill the AI coming into play? Every country must be able to be developed of expected to fulfill AI, a gift from our forefathers to us, to complete with luxury and not come with realness and sad faces, but to come in with luxury into eternity of none left behind, the eternity of enlightenment perfect, our true home, the fatherland. The motherland is what we have right now. But the fatherland is the heart of the motherland. Mother loves father so much and will never let the child disobey the father. And it starts with mother, learning from mother how to love father. I hope this beautiful enlightenment fulfill us today of episode and the climate also assisting us to recover from motherland. For mother is tired of working and it takes the children to fulfill that by reaching completion of integrity, wisdom age, and no more babies we are. It's time for us to appease the young generation to fulfill their mission of expected by we becoming of expected maturity of reasoning with all the laws of the land and constitution to effectiveness like the forefathers had given to us. Let clarity be made on all constitutions all over the world and interpretations of our customs. Thank you all for listening. Peace steals the storm, back to peace that has no storm, holding on to perfect peace.